Okay.
And welcome back, everybody. Good to be back. Took some time off last week from the PGA Tour and went down to Casa de Campo in the Dominican Republic. We talk about it all the time. It was an incredible 5 days down as we celebrated 50 years of this incredible resort. Such a beautiful place. And also officially cut the ribbon on Teeth of the Dog. Even though it's been open, the soft open was back in December. But now everything is cranking. It's spring break. The people, the kids. It is just so much fun. And go to casadecampo.com to plan your family vacay. All right. With that, Gilles Gagnon joins us now from the DR. Gilles rolled out the red carpet last week. Gilles, great to see you again. How much fun is it right now? I mean, you've been down there for a long time, but the vibe, the excitement that I experienced down there was really something special.
Well, I'm glad you could be part of it. And you and Brandy was wonderful to have you guys. And yeah, the inauguration was pretty amazing. We had the president of the Dominican Republic, the minister of tourism. We had Jason, obviously the gentleman that's created this.
Yes.
The inauguration, and then Mr. Pichardo, the president, and it was a great celebration. There was quite a few people there, and it was one of those things that by doing this, it made it a little more official. And people see it. We had cameras there. We had people from all over the place and different country. We had people Colombia. We had people obviously state Canada and the Caribbean everywhere. And so it was very special. And the Minister of Tourism did a wonderful speech. And what was amazing is that in the Dominican Republic last year, we had more tourists that came than the population of the Dominican Republic. So over 11
Wow.
million people. So that's pretty amazing.
That is amazing. But, as many people as are there, and there were a bunch of people last week, you guys do such an amazing job. I mean, you wouldn't know it. Sure, some of the restaurants were a little crowded here and there. The golf course was crowded, but I don't know. You guys have been doing it a long time. I guess that's the key, right? You know how it all works.
Yeah, it's not always easy, to handle all the people type of thing because the restaurant and a lot of people like you did not make dinner reservations, so I had to fix that.
Oops.
But no, but it's pretty amazing how helpful the people are here. It's they recognize you, and the people come in, they know, they say, oh, welcome back, and the restaurants, like they open a table for us, and we do the best we can, but you can't do everything for everybody. Obviously, everybody wants an 8 o'clock tee time. Well, when you're playing 180 golfers on the Teeth of the Dog every day, obviously the 8 o'clock tee time is not always
Right.
available. But overall, people are enjoying the renovation. They love the bunkers that look so much better. The fairways look like it's like you're playing on a carpet. The greens
Yeah.
are still a little firms, but they're getting better. But nobody's complaining, I can tell you that.
Tell me this now. We were out to dinner at Altos de Chavon, that incredible Italian restaurant. And my shirt, by the way, has the donkey on it. I had to get that in the pro shop, by the way. And the donkey was right outside the door of our restaurant. Tell us the history of that, because I know the history, it's growing, right? The history of the donkey?
Yeah, so Margarita. So when they first opened Altos and La Piazzetta, which is the Italian restaurant there, originally that
Yes.
was basically the only restaurant there. Now, there's a bunch of restaurants, Mexican and different other private place. But so people would get on it and they would go around, you would give them a ride and obviously give a couple pesos to the, and then people start taking picture of this thing, with everybody, and all of a sudden this was all over the place, Margarita, Margarita. So, and the thing is probably we've had 3 margaritas since the beginning. But yeah, it's really a little tradition. People go up there, they know about this little donkey up there, and they get on it and they laugh because of some people, he's got to hold people up so they don't fall off. But it's just walks around a couple feet there, like 15, 20 feet, and turn around, and it's a tradition. You walk up there, and we also had a tradition. Excuse me, up at La Piazzetta, we had an old gentleman there with he had a little black mustache and he played the accordion. And I'm telling you, this man is had more picture taken with him than I think anybody I know. And so we have some tradition up there, and people love it. Piazzetta is where I signed my first contract 45 years ago. So I have
Wow.
has a little special a little special in my heart. This place, that up there.
Yeah, you told us the story, and I appreciate all the stories that you tell us. But that was very, very special. And again, there's my donkey golf shirt. So I'm sure a lot of people here in the States are going to be asking me, what the heck is that? Because I may be the only person here in the States with that golf shirt. Hey, tell me this. Last night, the Dominican Republic World Baseball Classic played the United States in Miami. Great game, by the way. It was 2-1. The USA wins. The Dominican had listen, USA has a lot of all-stars, but the Dominican lineup was absolutely loaded. Albert Pujols, who was playing golf at Teeth of the Dog a few weeks ago, having a golf tournament. He was the manager. You were around it last night. I'm sure there's a lot of disappointed people there in the DR after the loss last night.
Well, the country's in mourning right now, I can tell you.
Yes.
That's you have no idea how many. I know the girls in the office today will be very, very, sad and what's going on right now. And it's one of those things that in this country, baseball is a religion. And
Yes.
it is so important to everybody. And like I said, I'm going to go to the office today, and the girls are all going to be there, kind of moping around. And probably one won't show to work because she's so depressed. No, it was a big game. I guess, Alex Rodriguez, what you told me, that you
Yeah.
thought it was one of the biggest game in the history of the Dominican Republic. So very sad, again, USA, there's always, I'm in between everything. Canada, USA, Dominican Republic, and it's one of those things you don't want anybody to lose, but unfortunately, the DR lost. I think it would have been bigger for the DR, obviously, than the US. That would have been a huge, huge deal here.
Oh, yeah. And now we await the winner of Venezuela and Italy to see who would ultimately play for the championship against the USA. Japan won it the last time, and they got ousted by Venezuela. So I guess needless to say, baseball is growing globally, which is, I think, really good for those of us who love the game. I got to ask you about the Players' Championship yesterday. I know you were watching, and I know you're friends with Alex Fitzpatrick, Matthew Fitzpatrick's brother, who comes down to Teeth and plays quite a bit. Exciting finish as Cameron Young wins the Players' Championship. That was a lot of fun watching the end of that tournament yesterday.
It was awesome, and he hit so many great shots. And it's the wonderful thing about this entire golf is how these people finish, and they're Matt went and congratulated the parents, and walks around, and they're friends, but they hit so many great shots. That pin on number 17 here, that thing is hanging on about the size of a golf cart back there, and
It
it's
is.
firing at that pin. And it's Cameron Young. Not only that, he actually broke out a couple smiles in the interview there after where live.
Never seen it. Never seen it.
Seen it. This guy never smiles. He's so serious. But they got him laughing a little bit in the interview. But he's a good player. He seems to be. He has a wonderful family, and it's golf is such an amazing game where you can ride a bicycle, and you can not ride a bicycle for a month, then you can get on a bicycle. But here's Olberg there. Looked like he was a 12 handicap all of a sudden. He couldn't find anything. And that's
Crazy.
the wonderful thing about, this game is so amazing that you can have it one day. You and I played, and all of a sudden we find that swing, and you hit some amazing drive there, and the next shot kind of goes a little sideways. So, I think it's a good example for average golfer that they get so upset, or, this game is just like you got it one day, it's lost, 1 minute, and it's gone. But golf is, I don't know, it's one of the best game in the world, and to see these amazing player. 375 yards
Whew.
drive. What the heck? That's a drive and a 3-wood for me. So it was a great finish.
It was a great finish, and it was interesting. It's 17, of course, the island hole that Pete Dye made famous, and Alice Dye is the one who told him, let's just make it the island green, which is an incredible story. Cameron Young hit a 57-degree sand iron into there, about 10 feet there, Gilles. That was pretty good play, but of course he knew what he was doing, right?
Obviously, I think I played that whole, I don't know, maybe I can't 30 years ago, whatever, with Pete and Alice, and was just open a little, and we're on the tee there, and Pete's sitting there whipping that ball right on the green, and he says, I can't understand why they're having so much problem with this. And Alice said, well, Pete, there's Jill, me, and 2 frogs that are watching this. It's a little different when you're playing for millions of dollars and millions of people watching. So it was kind of a funny story, but It's difficult because the other thing that he told me when we were playing is that where the flag might be going left to right, in front of the green, the wind actually go right to left because it bounces off the bleachers. So that's where they always have a hard time if it gets windy, that they can't quite get, that's where the ball bounces in the back and gets over in the water, or they get, because usually they're on line. It's not like they're
Yes.
way right or left, unless that pin's on the right side. But it's an amazing hole. I mean, I think that made Pete famous. That and Jerry Pate throwing Pete and Dean Beeman in the pond there on 18. So that's pretty much the story there.
You're probably closer to Pete Dye than anybody. You guys were the best friends. And oh, by the way, as you enter Teeth of the Dog now, there's a little foyer, and it has the Pete Dye statue, but all these incredible pictures that are now placed on these placards, which gives you a little history of Teeth of the Dog. And Gilles, I didn't recognize this guy. There was a picture of Pete Dye getting an honorary degree from Purdue University, and there was this other young guy with all this hair next to him, and I had to read the caption, "By golly, Gilles, that was you. I didn't recognize you."
Yeah, it was. It's funny how much when you age. I love that when people say, "Oh, Jill, I just saw you look the same." I say, "Well, you got to get your glasses. You got to get new glasses." But it was fun. He got his honorary degree there, and about 2 weeks before that, he came to watch my daughter in a ballet recital, which is like, watching paint dry. Obviously, it's only good for the parents. And he told me, he said, "Well, if you didn't think I was your friend, I proved it to you today." Well, in that picture you saw there, we're sitting there with Mr. Lima, who was the president of Central Romana, and about two of us was there. And as we're taking the picture, I said, "Pete, well," I said, "if you ever doubted my friendship, I just proved it to you." Because, you go to those graduation, we're up there for 3 hours, I mean, Doug Bell, bachelor's degree, Jill Gang, and da-da-da-da, and it lasts forever. So that's the funniest story, but it's very special, just remembering this man who's, what he did for the Dominican Republic, what he did for Casa de Campo. He built this golf course that all of a sudden people start coming, and he was he created thousands and thousands of jobs. I mean, you got maintenance guy, you have to have a restaurant, you have a hotel. So, and now it's grown, there's over 100,000 rooms in Punta Cana. So this country has benefited quite a bit from what P. Dye did, 50 years ago, a little more than 50 years ago.
Yeah, the pictures really are amazing. I love golf history, and just go through and read the captions, which are in English and Spanish, by the way. I thought were terrific. And I know Jason Keychak had a lot to do with kind of doing that presentation, and it was wonderful. And I think he has another phase planned too, because he believes, as do I, as do you, the history of Teeth of the Dog, Casa de Campo, Pete Dye is just absolutely, it's amazing. And the more stories you tell me about how it all got started and what the land looked like when Pete Dye arrived, I'm fascinated by where it was, where it's been, and where it is now.
Yeah, and Jason's done an amazing job. He's been here now 8 years, and I can tell you he's turned things around amazing. I mean, it's obviously we had this great resort and we built but he arrived and he believed so much in what the product that we had. And then he starts, going around and getting people to understand what we had. I mean, it's amazing. There's still people that get here that you'll bring somebody from, some big company, and somebody say, "Man, I can't believe this place. I didn't know this was here, that this existed." So it's still, we used to say that the most secret, in the Caribbean, the best secret in the Caribbean. Well, it still is a little bit of a secret, that people are not totally aware of what we have here.
It's incredible. And again, if you read that caption of that picture we mentioned, and Gilles, what you've done for Caribbean golf is pretty amazing too. I mean, you go back a long time, and I'm not sure you get all the credit you deserve, my friend, either, because it was the wild, wild west, if you don't mind me saying, 45 years ago, and you've kind of brought it all together where golf, wow, it is huge in the Caribbean now.
Well, I appreciate that coming from you, obviously. Yeah, you're a good friend, but also very knowledgeable. You've been in the business for a long, long time. But yeah, it was a little different. We had about 150 homes, and, television didn't exist here then, telephone.
Right.
I think I've told you before, you had to call the operator. And, there was not, they used to come from the Santo Domingo airport. It was a 2-lane highway, and you had a better chance of running into a donkey or a couple chickens than you did than getting in.
Crazy.
It's 2 hours, and I'm telling you, you talk about Bandon Dunes, you bought it like Sand Hills where my daughter is and stuff. I mean, you got to get there. It's like Sand
Right.
Hills, about an hour and a half from that close, the closest airport. Bandon Dunes, I guess, is 3 hours or whatever. So, but this was really wild, and people, you just didn't know where they were. Everybody. I know when I took the job, people thought they were kind of hugging me and say, "Well, we'll never see you again." But
Right.
it's changed. You couldn't get a salesperson to come and sell you anything, but now, I mean, it's unbelievable. Over 11 million tourists in the Dominican Republic. We're playing over 180 rounds on the Teeth of the Dog every day. That doesn't count the links and die four, and so I think I had a little part of it. But I've had some great kids. Dominicans so dedicated, and some kids couldn't even read. When I first got here, you give them a list for the bag. They didn't even know how to do that. But it's so thankful for what I've had and the luck that I've had to be here to start. Right at the beginning.
Kudos to you, my friend. Really an outstanding job. And thanks again for last week. It's our third time down, and it just keeps getting better. Of course, we come at different times. We came in July, we came in December, and now we came last week. So the weather has always been very nice. I will say this last trip, though, the weather was pretty incredible. You can't low to mid 80s, low humidity, that breeze coming off the ocean every day. Can't beat that, Gilles.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. And when you were there, I told you about the Pro-Am that I played a week before you got there with my
Right.
98-year-old friend there, Fred Dunlap, who's the football coach at Colgate University, Lehigh before. He was the athletic director at Colgate also. 98 years old. And I'm going to tell you, we played dive four. The wind was blowing like crazy we've had more wind this year than I've seen in a long, long time. And we had a couple squall coming through, and he said, well, we're going to have wonderful memory of playing up here. I said we could do without the wind. We'd still have those memory, I can tell you. But, that's what golf is so amazing. Can you imagine 97 years and 11 months? He played 4 days in a row. And the last day on the Teeth of the Dog on 13 was probably one of the hardest par three. No water, just sand. It's kind of an island green, right, with sand. And he hit it 4 feet 7 inches, and he went
Wow.
close to the pin. So at the banquet, he got up, and had the flag, and we had it signed. And I mean, it's just amazing to think that somebody at that age can come and he loved this. He stayed with us, and what an amazing story for a man like that to. I'll tell you, when he left, I was sad he was leaving, but boy, we were a little nervous. I didn't want anything to happen, trip anything or whatever. But he just went, played golf, took a little nap. We went out to dinner, and what a great man.
Wow. I hope I'm still playing when I'm in my 90s. We'll see. I got a ways to go, though. Actually, not that far.
You could be your age probably by then, won't you?
If I keep trying, Gilles, I just got to keep working on that short game,
You got a good
Maybe.
swing. You got a good swing. You do. I mean, you don't play enough. You play so
No.
rare. You got better every day, by the way. You got better and
Yeah.
better every day.
I had a lot of fun. And I love your friends are great because they're experts at ribbing people, but they're so much fun, And you guys, there's a lot of camaraderie. And that's the other thing about golf. You can kid people and rib people, but it's all in fun, even though they're trying to take money from you. So that's the great thing about golf.
Yeah, and it's not much. It's like $10 or something.
Yes.
The caddies are making a lot more money than if we win. But you saw a couple of my Italian buddies that call me a lot of bad names. But
Yes.
it's a lot of fun. That's a great thing. You go to dinners over here, and you'll have Italian, Spanish, English, French. And they're all talking, and it's just it's just amazing the countries. All the people that are here. And with different countries and different history that they have, and so it's just an amazing place. I hope you guys come back again soon, because it's always wonderful to have you here. We've become some great friends, and
Yeah.
I love to be outdriven by about 80 yards. It's really a lot of fun.
And Brandy has a long list of ideas she has for you. So
Well, I'm sure she does. I love her, boy. I tell you what, she even loved my bad joke, which I was really upset that you told her some of those.
she thinks your jokes are great.
She's
She thinks
great.
your jokes are great.
What a great girl. She's wonderful. Love her.
Oh, me. Well, Gilles, we appreciate it. Hopefully we'll see you soon, my friend. And don't be a stranger up here in the United States.
I might even go visit Alabama. I might have to change my accent a little bit, but I might even go to Alabama. But I'm sure I'll see you in Florida soon.
Yeah. Roll Tide, my friend. Thanks, Gilles. We'll talk to you soon.
All right, all the best. Thank you.